The Electronic Triple is on next week. And what would the Electronic Triple be without some electronic artists?
Nice.
Some craftsmen.
That was nice.
Craftsmen and women who make sports games and Battlefield and a bunch of other stuff. Let's talk about EA. Actually, first of all, let's not talk about their staples. Let's talk about a game that we haven't seen in a long time, which we haven't seen much of at all. We got a little bit of a tease of it last year. Mass Effect Andromeda.
We've actually seen more of it than EA would probably like us to see.
Yes, that's true.
Considering that leak.
Recently it was like a graphics
an artist's
test
website.
or something.
Like a YouTube video of like
just a rogue YouTube video of Mass Effect Andromeda. Kind of like gameplay stuff, and it looks.
I didn't realize how excited I was for Mass Effect Andromeda until I saw that small video clip. Just seeing a Krogan again,
right?
I love Mass Effect. I love that universe. I love the characters. I love the writing, and just returning back to that series is going to be awesome. I think
the most interesting part of it is the way they're so adamant that they're cutting ties with the original trilogy. That's what makes me excited.
That's so assuring, isn't
it gives me confidence in that they know what they're doing. Like a lot of series that go on for this long, they rely on using some of the nostalgia and the existing love for a franchise.
Or they even connected themselves in a tiny way, which is even too much. Like I think at Gears of War 4, I'm like, you don't really need to have this be Marcus Phoenix's son. Let's draw a line in the sand here.
Yeah,
and
too afraid to cut the ties completely.
Totally.
Whereas this game, Andromeda, it feels like they're ready to start again, afresh, and maybe this is the start of a brand new trilogy as well.
I reckon it definitely will be, considering how successful Mass Effect has been so far. But like the idea of new races, new planets, and kind of like the technology, what it allows us to do now with, they're bringing back vehicles, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And like traveling from, spaceship to on a planet and kind of not having any loading times, that kind of stuff. It's just really fascinating. And even conceptually, like BioWare are amazing in creating these cool ideas, like the Pathfinder. That's what you are. And before you were the Shepherd, now you're the Pathfinder, and your whole goal is to find somewhere for
they dance with that space opera stuff really well.
Exactly.
Has the Pathfinder thing been confirmed? Is that
I
the
think
actual
that's
story?
pretty much, I think it's either it has been confirmed, but there's so much stuff about like artwork that has come out with Pathfinder.jpg and stuff like that. So it's like,
Pathfinder hero.npg.
Yeah, that's just gaff messing with you, man.
I love doing that.
Yeah, and if Andromeda's and it's probably not coming out anytime soon, but in the meantime, you can always check out Mary Kish and Rob Handler's sick video of the Mass Effect ride, which they went to a couple of weeks ago. 4D. It's got all the D. Too much D for you to take. Let's talk about first-person shooters. Battlefield. The first Battlefield.
Battlefield 1.
Tell you what, that was a weird week. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare came out. They were like, well, we're in space.
People
and we're like, we're on the opposite side of space. We're in the fucking trenches. We're not worried about space right now. We're worried about the flu killing half of Europe.
Trench foot.
And I love that they were like, oh yeah, Infinite Warfare, and the entire gaming community went, ha, that's a dumb name. You cannot get a more dumber name. And then we're like, Battlefield 1. We've got an entire series, and the entire industry was like, no, that's fine. That makes perfect sense.
It.
Down with Call of Duty.
So the fact that I have never seen I have, but like in modern times, in the past couple of years, I have not seen people tear apart a trailer like they did Battlefield 1. They were like data mining it. There were history YouTube channels which don't talk about games taking this thing and doing a piece by piece deconstruction of like Bedouin tribes and what the German soldiers wore on what fronts and all this sort of stuff. I haven't seen this much hype behind a Battlefield game in a long time.
Interestingly, those videos that deconstructed the trailers were fascinating videos as well.
Totally.
Yeah. And maybe it's
amazing.
Maybe it's because World War One is inherently really interesting. As a subject matter, something that actually happened.
Totally.
Sure.
And it's also one that it's not like Saving Private Ryan. It's not like Band of Brothers. It's not like we had grandparents involved. You know what I mean? It doesn't have that touch. Like the First World War feels like an alien thing that happened, and it also was like something that not a lot of people talk about because, quite frankly, it was possibly the worst war ever. It was horrific amounts of civilian casualties all over the world. Redrew the lines of Europe, and which have basically not been redrawn much since because it was such a shocking event. What's going to be interesting about Battlefield 1 is we know DICE are able to make war games, but are they able to make single player stories which do a good job of touching on what is an unbelievably tragic human event.
That is the acid test for them. And I don't think they've ever achieved that when it comes to single player.
No.
I know they're a great multiplayer studio, but they haven't quite done it when it comes to single player campaigns.
Yeah,
So
Battlefield 3 and 4 were sort of the bombastic movie stuff. Most people didn't like them too much. I was a decent fan of 3. 4 was kind of fine. I mean, Bad Company was really good, but Bad Company was so much of a like comedy game.
Yeah.
It was on the opposite side. I mean, there was moments of sincerity there, but it's very interesting.
I mean, EA as a company, as a publisher and developer wider, it's kind of filling itself with a lot of talent that, while not directly related to Battlefield, like has a lot of storytelling chops. Like they're working on stuff like Star Wars and stuff like that.
Right.
But like they could use that talent to bolster their storytelling abilities somewhat. Whether they do that is who knows. But like the thing that's really interesting is like the story of its pitching and like the way DICE had to convince the people in charge that this is something you should be doing. And we had a story recently about kind of executive believing, like the worry was people might not think that World War One actually happened.
Right.
So like the youth right now
just would be totally disconnected from it.
they started with 2.
Yeah, they in the same way that people believe Titanic is a movie,
Right.
and not a thing that actually happened.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really, really, really cynical right now, but my suspicion is that the big heads at EA thought, well, Titanfall 2 is futuristic first-person war. We can't have 2 futuristic first-person war games
Launching at the same time against another futuristic war game.
Precisely, yeah. So they have to go the opposite direction.
So let's talk about Titanfall 2 then. Vince Appella's second bite at the cherry. That first game, Respawn's first game, was a really great little game. Very interesting movement mechanics, new types of multiplayer. There's sort of 2 levels of battle happening at the same time. It did suffer quite a fall off though in terms of
Such a
playability.
shame. Such a shame.
6 weeks into that, a lot of people were done with it.
Fell off a cliff, didn't it, after 6 weeks? And I was so upset about that because, I mean, I got over it, but... but
5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I was fine after that. No, I thought it was a fantastic game. My goodness. I thought it was going to be huge. I really thought it was
But the one thing people wanted out of that game was single player.
Yeah.
Campaign multiplayer, perhaps just a byproduct of a small team trying to make a big, solid first-person shooter. But what do you think about it?
There's something about that just is really strange, the request. Because at the same time, this is the team that created Call of Duty and the modern Call of Duty template as we know it.
Yeah.
And every time you speak to someone about Call of Duty, they're like, oh yeah, I don't really care about the campaign. I just go straight into multiplayer.
Well, some people do, but I feel like a lot of other people
and over time,
say the opposite.
Less and less. Like even I was someone who started off as only playing the kind of campaign.
Yeah.
It was like I'm on campaign first and then I'll go into multiplayer. Now I just go straight into multiplayer. But then like Titanfall comes along and it's just a multiplayer game.
Yes.
Exactly what everyone seemed like they wanted.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, where's the single player?
But do you know why people went straight to the multiplayer? Because the campaigns got shit.
Yeah, true.
Black Ops 1 was good. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was good. Modern Warfare 2 was okay. Black Ops 2 was, and then we got into like the Kevin Spacey stuff, and then it just became such an also-ran in a game that had like a solid multiplayer game.
There's a really strange contradiction with game sale data, which shows that games that have a single-player component sell better than games with just multiplayer. But there's also metrics which show that when people buy these games, they just play multiplayer.
Yeah. So it's like the idea of having more content. Like you feel like you're getting more for your money up front, even if you won't play. Like the idea that maybe I'll play the single player is enough for you to be like,
that's really
I'll pay
interesting.
£40 or $40 for it. I think the Titanfall issue for me wasn't necessarily single player. It was just like it didn't have enough content. It was almost refined too much. Like they had very 2 or 3 pistols, and by the time you play like 5 or 6 hours of it, and you can see like the top off point on leveling up, unlocking stuff, and there just weren't enough mech variety and that kind of stuff.
I think it might be deeper stuff. I think people like stories, they like universes, they like to be emotionally invest themselves in these worlds that they play in. And if you just show them arenas with giant robots and men jumping around the place, it's not,
and women,
it doesn't grab you
in Titanfall as well, which was
and the thing is, like a lot of that stuff, it wants if as someone who's an anime nerd and loves robot nerds, I'm like, tell me more about how this dude is summoning a robot from the sky. I need to know about this.
It's so cool.
So like, and that's part of it.
It's a good problem for them to have.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
People are more invested than they expected.
And
so
obviously, these guys they have grown exponentially. They're working on a Star Wars game at the same time.
Totally.
So they've got the team and the money to
we had a massive
big.
argument about that, didn't we? Because I think it's a sign of things not going so well for them.
I think it's a sign of them like being like, we're on it, we got this.
Like, you could cut that one either way. I mean, maybe they needed a cushion in case Titanfall 2 doesn't work. I guess we'll find out. Also coming multi-platform as well, so PlayStation fans can get their hands on that one. Let's talk about sports. There'll be a new sports game, FIFA Sports. Right? There'll be a new NHL. Well, we know that's coming soon. I think they're showing that one off.
Yeah, FIFA.
FIFA, be new
Frostbite
Madden.
engine.
Frostbite at FIFA.
Yeah.
I mean, Fox. They were using Pro Ev was using bloody Metal Gear Solid 5
true.
engine for a while there. They'll show off all that stuff. I mean, there's not much.
Just bring back NBA Jam, for God's sake.
They've done that.
Do it again.
No.
That last NBA Jam was okay.
Get Donald Trump and Hillary in there this time.
Yeah, EA Sports games, I know they're not interesting to talk about, and I know they're not trending as sexy topics, but like they're amazingly successful.
They just sell it. They sell an absolute shit.
They sell like 4 or 5 million every year.
Can I tell you though? I've bought PES and FIFA every year. I haven't played FIFA since Rocket League came out.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
So there you like. That's
Rocket
all I'm gonna
League
say
will
is
destroy the world.
XSX Tricky 2.
Okay, that wouldn't be too bad.
Bring it back.
I guess that
Let's
does
do
it.
this.
Let's move on a little bit here. Haze Light, the folks who made is it the Brothers, A Tale of Two. I forget that. Yeah, they released some sort of game last year. There was a little bit of a trailer for it. They barely showed it off. Remember, there was like a dev diary which lasted forever.
Was it some dude on a train?
Yes, that was it. It was a dude on a train.
Dude on a
Hobo
train.
Simulator 2016. I don't know.
I am okay with that.
Yeah, so maybe we'll see that. We also don't know much about the sort of the visceral mode of Star Wars game.
Oh my goodness.
Jade Raymond, Amy Hennig working on Jade Raymond of Assassin's Creed fame, basically herself and Patrice Désilets made Assassin's Creed, and you have Amy Hennig, who is one of the founding workers on the incredible Uncharted series. Both of those coming over. There's word that maybe they mightn't show much of it, but they'll just do like a paper announcement so they can get more people to come to the studio to work on it. I don't want to
overhype people, but that the planets have aligned for that game.
Yeah, totally right.
Like and that could be like the greatest thing.
And the fact that they got Amy Hennig, who helped make Uncharted, and there's this bounty hunter game that Lucas canned that everyone really wants. Star Wars, what was it called? 13. That, so like, I imagine EA went, look, everyone's going mad over this thing. Let's grab her and get to work.
Jade Raymond took a bit of a sabbatical from games development as well. Herself and Patrice made one of the most enduring third-person action games of recent memory. So, that's really exciting as well.
I think it depends how much freedom Disney and LucasArts gives Lucasfilm gives the team. If they give them enough freedom, if they give Amy enough freedom to do her own thing within the Star Wars universe, it could be amazing.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. There you go.